Right now at noon, we look at the latest push to boost funding for special education in Kansas.
We've got ourselves a gray and cold Friday across the area, and it's not going to get much better through the afternoon. We'll take a look at our forecast and some rain chances this weekend coming up.
And United Airlines becomes the first major...
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A Southeast Kansas woman pleads no contest in the 2018 shooting death of a Cherryvale man. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Topping our first 7 minutes, nearly 4.5 years after the fatal shooting of Richard Schultes, the suspect in the case takes a plea deal. Court documents show Julie Fagerstrom lived with the victim when the shooting happened on November 26th of 2018. Prosecutors initially charged her with second-degree murder. The deal changes that to a no contest plea to a reduced charge of voluntary manslaughter. Sentencing is set for May. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly's budget calls for an increase in special education funding over the next 5 years. The state hasn't fully funded special education in more than a decade as set by state law. And Sean Lodging sat down with Governor Kelly and takes a look at the latest education bill in the works.
Just outside of El Dorado, the Butler County Special Education Interlocal runs a vocational training program for students with disabilities.
It gives us a purpose to actually be successful and show us what we can do.
Providing job training and life skills.
They might not have a chance to do any at college. They have a chance to do stuff here.
Governor Laura Kelly visiting with students there Thursday. The Interlocal's director says to provide this program and their many other services, it requires state funding and incremental increases in that aid. She adds they've increased the number of students receiving services.
It's about investing in what's important. And in my opinion, people are important. People of all ability levels are important. They all deserve the opportunity to be successful.
Earlier this week, lawmakers moved forward with an education bill with an increase in special education funding. Governor Kelly says she'd prefer if special ed was done separately.
I would like that bill to be taken out of the bill that it's currently in and put into the education budget where it belongs, or in the overall budget where it belongs.
Republican Representative Christy Williams says it's common to tie policies together in a single bill. Most of this bill focuses on creating an education savings account program where public funds could be used for private, home, or other types of non-public schooling for qualifying students.
Establish an account that's equal to base aid in Kansas, which is approximately $5,000.
The bill says the program would be administered by the state's treasurer's office and a new state board would provide oversight.
Kids are experiencing all kinds of challenges today, and therefore each of them needs a different or may succeed in a different learning environment, and that's what this program tries to provide.
Opponents call it a type of school voucher program. The Kansas Association of School Boards, one of the public education groups against the program, say a top concern is that there would be no state oversight if educational needs are met.
As to whether those schools were teaching kids to the standards, whether they were teaching kids at all, whether they were teaching kids with special needs who, have legal mandates and legal rights under federal and state law.
That was Sean Lodging reporting. Another part of the bill requires a one-time increase in teacher salaries. The bill still needs to be debated before the full House, which could happen as early as next week. Well, we're kicking off the weekend on a little chilly note. Chris Warner joins us with the first look at the forecast.
Yeah, we've had a pretty cold and gray start to our Friday, and it is looking to be roughly the same as we head through the weekend, though we might be a little bit warmer. You can see, as mentioned earlier, we're going to see some peaks of the sun. Some of us that see these peaks of sun may get a little warmer than others, but you can see there's still plenty of cloud cover out there at 7th and Range Line. Still plenty of cloud cover out there at 20th and Range Line on the MoDOT camera there as well. We are watching for showers and thunderstorms as we head into tomorrow. And not much change from this morning, but this dark green area, we could see a stray strong storm or two. And we'll talk more about that here in just a few minutes. Yesterday kicked the day off at 41, made it up to 50, so below our average high. high, but above our average low. That's been our trend lately. And in Joplin picked up about 1/10 of an inch of rain. And you can see, though, for March and for the year, we are over on our rainfall, which is having some at least a small impact on our drought situation. We're at 39 in Pittsburgh, 37 in Fort Scott, 43 Miami, 42 Neosho, and 41 in Joplin. As we head through the weekend and through today, we're cloudy and cool. We got the showers and storms likely on Saturday, and then we will have at least a brief warm up by the middle of next week. And of course, with any weather that we get, make sure you scan that QR code or go to your favorite app store and download the KOAM Skywatch weather app. It's like having the entire Skywatch weather team with you wherever you go. We'll talk about tomorrow's rain chances and that brief warm up here in just a few more minutes. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, a new storm system threatens millions of people in California with flooding and other damage. The so-called atmospheric river is hitting the northern part of the state with heavy rain and snow. This system could worsen the damage already done by storms that dropped multiple feet of snow in some areas. Flooding from new rain and melting snow is a big concern. Well, so many people want to fly these days. The airlines hired nearly 50,000 new employees last year, but the industry is struggling to find enough qualified pilots. And that prompted United Airlines to take a new approach, organizing its own training course. Chris Van Cleve takes us to the sky to see how it's going.
Ricky Foster's dream of becoming an airline pilot is really taking off after completing basic pilot training outside Phoenix.
I feel like an eagle up here.
We first met the former flight attendant and mother of two last year when she was among the 51 future flyers in the inaugural class of United's Aviate Academy. It's part of the airline's effort to address the continued pilot shortage and diversify a workforce that is overwhelmingly white and male.
Your graduating class looks nothing like a flight school anywhere else.
No, it looks nothing like the industry, but guess what it does look like? It does look like the demographic we serve. It looks like our passengers.
Airlines are hiring thousands of employees as travel demand has roared back from pandemic lows. Josh Azuha left his job as a Denver area police officer to attend Aviate.
The next step for me is to instruct here at the United Aviate Academy as a flight instructor and build my hours before ultimately, hopefully, transitioning to the airlines.
And there'll likely be a job waiting for him. United expects major U.S. carriers will need 10,000 new pilots this year alone, but only have about 6,600 qualified candidates. The cost and years of training to become an airline pilot discourages many people, despite a potential six-figure salary.
Basically, you either had to go through the military or you needed to have access to someone willing to give you $100,000 to $150,000.
CEO Scott Kirby says United is the first major U.S. carrier to start its own flight school.
They're still 4 to 5 years away from showing up for their first day in a United Airlines cockpit. But it is the right kind of long-term answer to not just solving the pilot shortage, but creating good careers for people and giving people access to careers that can be life-changing for them, their families, and their communities.
New pilot Ricky Foster hopes to swap this small plane for a United flight deck, landing her dream gig within the next few years. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Phoenix.
That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, New Zealand prepares to crown the sharpest shearer in the land. And later we're making homemade beet borscht in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. In the world of competitive sports, there's one considered a cut above the rest, and it's all about fleecing the competition. As CBS's Ian Lee shows us, it involves sheep and some sharp contestants.
In a country like New Zealand, where sheep outnumber people 5 to 1, someone was bound to turn it into a competition. It takes sheer tenacity and perseverance if you want to win here. Only the best sheep shearers gather for the annual Golden Shears competition.
You need to be fit, but in your body physically, but you also need to have the mental strength as well to be able to pull you through.
Competitors race to give 8 sheep a close shave. And the skill isn't for the faint of heart, considered by many as the toughest job on the farm.
It's unbelievable pressure put on your body and the energy levels you use.
The fleece flies as competitors then separate the wool. Kieran Herbert says she learned her shearing skills from some true legends.
You know, some of them are gone now. You know, they're up in the heavens. They were here, they'll be kicking our butts.
They finish by sweeping the floor of the competition and the wool before someone is crowned the sharpest shearer in the land. Ian Lee, CBS News.
You literally have to sweep the competition. The sheep shearing competition has taken place in March every year since 1961. Still to come on the KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
They peak in the fall, but are a welcome addition to our salads and soups. They're beets, and today we'll show you how to cook them.
But first, we are tracking some thunderstorms as we head into our Saturday and at least a brief warm-up next week. We'll talk about all that when we come back. Welcome back to KOAM News at noon. So we are cold and gray and just dreary today, and we are watching shower and thunderstorm chances as we head into our Saturday and then a brief warm-up. Let's talk about those shower and thunderstorm chances first. In that light green, those are general thunderstorms. We could see isolated to widely scattered thunderstorms tomorrow. And in the darker green is where we could see a couple of stronger storms. It's a fairly low-end risk, but if we did see any, we're talking maybe some small hail and some gusty winds out of these storms. But otherwise, just a few isolated scattered thunderstorms as we head into our Saturday. So let's go ahead and head into our Saturday on the future track. We go through tonight. We got those mostly cloudy skies. We head into tomorrow morning. By about 6, 7 o'clock, we start to see these showers kick off across southeast Kansas. Could be a rumble of thunder or two out there. And those will roll off to the east, and you see they develop into a little bit of a line of storms. Then we get a pause by about noon, and then we'll see additional redevelopment take place, a few more showers, and maybe even a few more thunderstorms across the area as we head into Saturday evening. So we got to just be aware that we got the rain, we've got some storms, but we are going to be a little bit better than we are today in terms of temperatures. After that all gets out of here, we're going to start to try and clear out just a little bit. And we're not expecting a ton of rainfall out of all of this. We're averaging maybe 1/10 to half an inch of rain, but where we see thunderstorms is where we could see some of those heavier amounts of rain. And as we've been mentioning, the rain is helping with the drought situation, but southeast Kansas still has a long way to go. Now, a few days ago, we had the dry and moderate lines out to just east of Joplin, along a line roughly right through here, and that's been scaled back. Even the extreme and exceptional getting scaled back just a little bit, but we still need a lot more rain in southeast Kansas to beat this drought, which is what we are left with from last year's extreme heat and dry spell that we had across the area. All right, 7th and range line. We've got the clouds, we've got a little bit of sun, and taking a look at the MoDOT camera at 20th and range line, we've got the sun, little bit of clouds out there. And it is going to stay that way, and those clouds and everything is what keeping us pretty cool. Now we're up to 41 in Joplin, feeling like 36 with a north breeze at about 7 miles an hour. Now those of us who see a little more sunshine could end up into the lower 50s today, but the majority of us are going to stay on the cool side. Say Iola, Yates Center, Fort Scott, Nevada, all for example, as it's still in the 30s, 39 Pittsburgh, 41 Chatopa, 43 Miami, and get a little warmer to the south, 46 Grove and Anderson, and 42 in Neosho. So as we go through the day, again, average highs are going to be the mid to upper 40s, but a few of us could get a little bit warmer, be mostly cloudy. We head into the evening, we remain mostly cloudy, dropping back down to a very cold 35 degrees for our overnight low. And we want to take a moment to remind you for Sunday, make sure you set your clocks forward 1 hour and of course change the batteries in your smoke detectors. The sun will rise a little bit later, but of course it will stay out a little bit later as well. Now onto that 7-day forecast. Here's what we're dealing with. We got 54 tomorrow, the storms, maybe a stray morning shower or two as we head into Sunday. Really chilly again on Monday, 46, and we try and warm up Tuesday and Wednesday, a little bit breezy on Wednesday, but darn near 70 degrees. That doesn't last though. As we head into Thursday, we drop back into the 40s with additional rain chances. And our St. Patrick's Day also looking cold, also looking like maybe a wintry mix out there possible in the morning as well. So it's not going to be very spring-like for a while, not even on the first day of spring. We're looking to be in the lower 40s.
And we're supposed to see green on St. Patrick's Day, not white.
Yeah, we may have a little bit of white on the ground instead of that green, so just be prepared for all of that.
All right, well, in the meantime, be prepared for those storms this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, nothing too crazy, but stray storm or two possible.
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, stick around. We're making homemade beet borscht after the break. Well, today's dish can be served hot or cold, but it's best served in a big bowl. We're making homemade beet borscht in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Today I want to talk about a veggie that is often overlooked, but once it's discovered, or shall I say rediscovered, it becomes a new favorite. What is it? It's beets. Let me show you how to cook them. I start by cutting off the tops and trimming the bottoms and placing the bulbs in a pot of water. To that, I add some vinegar, a good amount of sugar, and a bit of salt. After it comes to a boil, I'll let it simmer for about a half an hour or so until the beets are tender. After removing them and letting them cool slightly, I peel them with a knife. And as you can see, it's a good idea to wear gloves so your fingers don't turn beet red. Now we can slice or dice them and serve them on our salads. Or we can cut them into strips and add them back into the sweet and tangy broth that we cooked them in. And after this cools, we end up with a chilled soup that's surprisingly refreshing. Maybe serve this with a boiled potato, some chopped cucumbers and onions, and a dollop of sour cream. One spoonful of this old world classic, and you'll know why this recipe has stood the test of time. To get the recipe for our homemade beet borscht, all you have to do is visit our website. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found an unbeatable way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our 4-state market prices.
We are chilly today, mostly cloudy. Watching those showers and thunderstorms tomorrow, 54. Don't forget to spring forward this weekend. Morning showers Sunday, 51. 46 Monday, a little bit warmer Tuesday and Wednesday, and then additional showers and cooler weather as we head into Thursday of next week.
All right. What do we have coming up tonight at 5?
Well, at 5, 3 years after the World Health Organization declares the COVID-19 outbreak a pandemic, doctors are noticing how COVID is causing a sharp rise in POTS. That's a nervous system disorder that causes rapid heart rate, fainting, and dizziness, most often affecting women. We're going to learn more about POTS in Health Watch. Plus, Missouri Southern announces a big gift to the Lions Forward campaign, and the Better Business Bureau weighs in on scholarship scams. Hope you join us for those stories. A lot more, of course. It's all coming up today. KOAM News at 5.
All right. Thank you, Don. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at Noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.